Hello, welcome to another episode on Fine Leg Productions. With me is Swoom Chikaliso, and both of us are happy that you are viewing our videos and you are commenting, you are sharing your views with regards to what is happening with South African sport. And there's plenty to talk about what happened over the weekend, Bafana, Nedbank Golf Challenge, and the Springboks Ramslam T20 that started over the weekend. But like I said, Swoom Chikaliso, trusted in his opinion. And thank you very much for joining me so early in the morning. So I don't know how you beat traffic from midnight.
Away, brother. Away, brother. It's great.
So quickly, and in the kalam fethu nenifunda singene kuyo Bafana Bafana.
Yeah.
Last week, danhleli no Chwako phofa 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I said to Chwako, we always have permutations. Who should do this? Who shouldn't do that? Who should score 3 goals or who should score 2 goals so that Bafana goes through? This time it was clear. Bafana needed to win on Saturday. They needed to win this week to see themselves in Russia, and it's not happening.
I think for me, if they had won, they would have sort of delayed the inevitable. I mean, they would have had to do it twice. Once in Polokwane and a second time in Dakar. I don't think they had the capacity for the job that was at hand. And with the Bafana, bro, it's like every time there's a must-win game, you kind of know. You don't go there with the hope of like, okay, yeah, we're gonna fight it out to the death. You kind of know in the back of your mind, must-win game. Now you had 2 back-to-back, can't fail, no room for error kind of games, and they failed at the first hurdle. I think that for me is the biggest disappointment. Most of the viewers would have thought, okay, let's take it to Dakar at the very least. Get a 1-0 at home or 2-1, and sneak through. They had the chances. Stuart Baxter went with Percy Tau up front, went with Sibusiso Vilakazi just in behind him. I went with Lebohang Manyama on the right. So it was a very, very attacking lineup, and he had Dean Furman sitting just behind them. And Kamuhelo Mukocho just spraying the passes around. The finishing, bro. The finishing.
But Smooth, that is...
reared its ugly head once again.
I sat and noticed something last week happened with Bafana Bafana. The media coverage that they got, the PR that they got. They haven't gotten such PR since the 2010 World Cup. And I think because it being the significance of that match, it being a World Cup qualifier, Bafana had their backs against the wall from Monday last week with the injury of Itumile and Kuna. Do you think that sort of set them off a bit? Because they were in patches on Friday night where, they looked very positive. They looked, I think the second half of the first half where they looked like they had this in control. They were hitting crossbars, and then it just went flat from there on.
I think for me, it's a matter of Senegal had 2 chances. They converted both. Brilliant pass by Mane.
And that's what you look for when you play away from home.
Oh, that's exactly what they want. The second goal, a break from Sadio Mane again. He was so influential in the game. And a comical own goal.
Oh, man.
Just 2 Bafana players just getting in their own way there. And the ball comes off from Kize, off the post, off Kune, trickles into the net. It was silly by the end. But, that stuff of hitting the post, near misses, the oohs, the ahs, it's typical of Bafana. And, leading up to that week, it was ominous because what you had was Klompo Kigan had a terrible tragedy where I think he lost his mother-in-law in a car accident that had his 2-year-old Lighty in there.
Condolences to the family.
I really, really hope the Kekana family makes it through this very, very difficult time. Then you had, in the same week, Kuna obviously with the much publicized facial fracture. I think for me, the fact that Baxter was so desperate to get Kuna back kind of showed very little faith in the other goalkeepers. You had Wayne Sanderlands in there, and you had Darren Keat in there. So it says to you, Darren Keat won the league 4 Wits last year, kept some of the brilliant clean sheets that have helped Wits over the line. But he was entrusted with the job. Then you've got the third issue, which was Tulani Serrero. And he says, look, if I don't get a guaranteed start, that's it, I'm not coming. That, for me, shows the difference between the class of 2017, so to speak, and the class of 96. Because who has the gall to say that I have to start, guaranteed start for the national team? No, you don't. Wait in line, pal. There's lots of players that want to play.
There's a pecking
for the heart, for the team.
You know, Smooth, and you spent some time in the UK. Was it 2015 or 2014?
Yeah, 2014. Yeah.
And you covered, not just sitting on your buttocks. There, you were doing what you do very best. In that time you spent there, seeing the attention that is paid to an injury that occurs to Eden Hazard or Cahill or Ronaldo or whoever it may be, and how the media just covers that specific injury throughout the week until that match day. Do you think it was sort of something unusual that half the country was talking about a mask that Tumulin Kune should put on? How many injuries occur in the PSL during the week? Do we cover these stories well enough so that the players themselves get, or sort of like they get used to understanding media coverage with specifics when it comes to injuries?
I don't think we go into as much detail as the UK writers. I mean, they really unpack an issue. I mean, they would have had a graphic for you as to what the actual fracture is in his face, what's preventing him from playing, what are the potential pitfalls for you to persist playing him, who makes the masks. You would have had all of that. You would have had a nice little graphics here, maybe something medical, and then some opinion from a professional goalkeeper, and it showed in the whole Neil Collins Petr thing that South Africans really don't understand some of the nature of the injuries. I mean, Neil Collins compared Kune's injury to Petr whereas Petr one is a brain injury,
and it's a scrum cap versus a mask.
Yeah, with I think against Reading some years back, and he wears a scrum cap every time he goes out to play for Arsenal. And then Neil Collins comparing it to Tumilin Kune, who had a facial fracture. Those are two different things.
Two different things.
So that is in itself shows you the kind of difference what you get from a UK reporter to a South African one. But either way, I would say that everyone did the best that they could. Everyone was rooting for Kune to make it because it gives that solidity. But then I don't think we put the right people in front of him. You did all of that to get Kune to be fit for the game, and then you put a defense that he's not familiar with, Clayton Daniels, Morgan Gould. For me, solid but not spectacular.
Smooth in closing with Bafana, because we're going to move on to the Springboks.
Yeah.
But you speak of the class of 1996, and we're in 2017 now. We've only qualified once for the World Cup between then and now.
Twice.
Sorry, twice. 2018 we're not going. 2022 are we going? And Smooth, I want you to be realistic in saying this, because obviously now we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to look at development. We need to look at structures. And we say this year in, year out, after bombing out of the AFCON, after not qualifying for, or we speak of the years to come, the coaches to come, the players to come. And there's no doubt that the development structures are there in our country. Players are coming through. We're not looking down or frowning down on efforts that are being put by some clubs to actually bolster our development in football. But do you honestly see ourselves at 2022, 2026, and 2030? Because the other day someone asked me, and I said, but the realistic chance that I give our national football side is at least 2030 to qualify for a World Cup convincingly, and so that we not just to qualify and participate, but to qualify and get there and compete. I only see us being there in 2030.
Look, we've had the chances. How long are we always going to build up? And every time we bomb out of a qualification campaign, and this conversation will come up, and everyone says, no, we should look at development, and everyone says, no, we should look at this and that. And now there's a cyclical nature in South African football that no one is willing to break. You fail to qualify for a tournament, a coach gets fired, let's build. And on and on and on it goes. Then we don't pick the right coach. Then we don't give him enough time. Then, we drag our feet. And then we're surprised when we get to this very point that we're in. For me, we missed out on some of the top coaches. Hervé Renard has just taken Morocco to Russia. They beat Ivory Coast over the weekend 2-0. We had a chance to get Hervé Renard in South Africa to coach South Africa and Bafana. We missed out on that. He was very keen on the job, but what do? We drag our feet. And then we miss out on top coaches. The second thing is the reaction from the failed qualification campaign for Russia has been followed by should Stuart Baxter stay or go. That's irrelevant for me because he says if I don't qualify for the 2019 AFCON, I'm going to go. But why is that the absolute measure? For me, the thing is if you have a plan, it shouldn't matter whether you qualify now or not. If you have a plan, you say, you know what, in 5 years' time we'll make Qatar. If we don't make Russia, we'll make Qatar. And if we go to 2019 AFCON, we'll take players that can play in Qatar. So what do we do now? So if we persist with some of our Asian players, which are very, very good, but we need to look now at who's going to be there in Qatar. Who's going to be in 2020 good enough, young enough, or peaking at the right time to be able to be part of that campaign. And we need to look at them now. I think he's missed the boat here, Stuart. He should have had guys like Luther Singh in that squad. He should have had them knowing what the pressure is like to fail to qualify for a campaign. And then go to Dakar and say, okay, guys, we're building now. Tomorrow starts now. This Qatar starts now. But what's going to happen in Dakar? We're just going there to give Senegal a guard of honor. We're going to go there with age players that failed us now and aren't even going to be there in 2019 or 2022.
So I'm glad that you touched on 2019 because it will be a big, massive year for South African sports. 2019, there's the AFCON, there's the Rugby World Cup, and there's the Cricket World Cup. But we're going to wrap this clip with the Springboks on Saturday. I don't know how to feel about that performance, whether to compare it to Albany or I'm going to compare it to losing to Japan but, you know, I've done, you know, I did Super Rugby this year, commentary, I did the inbound, I did Curry Cup, I did Rugby Championship. What I saw from my couch on Saturday, because I wasn't working on Saturday, I think it was my first game of the year where I actually sat down and looked at the guys. Smooth, we know it. We're blowing hot and cold, we know it. It's as if rugby culture is non-existent in this country. It's as if we are a developing nation when it comes to rugby. It's as if we haven't won this thing twice. You know, there was lack of character in the guys. It was individualistic performances from some of the guys. Go forward ball, and you and I would sit down and perhaps discuss: are they playing in this channel, or are they attacking fly half, or are they attacking the number 12? But for an ordinary supporter of rugby, an ordinary follower of South African football, rugby, or whatever you may call it, what do you say to them? If they were to bump into Alistair Coetzee in the mall now buying coffee, and they were to ask him, what would he say? What would he say? Security. Because he's the one who's got the answers for us. You know, he's the one who's got the answers. Yeah. What is happening, Sui? Because what we saw in Cape Town against New Zealand was completely different to what we saw in Albany. And what we saw on Saturday in Ireland, in Dublin, is completely different to what we saw in Cape Town, where we thought, okay, you guys, you know, perhaps, what?
You're gonna go.
What?
Look, I don't have answers for you except for what I saw was absolute dog's vomit. To be honest, it easily ranks as one of the worst performances from a Springbok team. And this is the thing that really, really perplexes me, is that we find new lows. I mean, I was covering the Durban disaster, as I like to call it.
You and Choco. Every time Choco comes,
myself and the Choc myself, we're in Durban watching a horror show, and another fine leg member, Mungani Zam, was right next to me there, and they put 57 points past us. We replied with 15 at the time. I watched things fall apart badly. And then Chaku was in Albany, 57 love. And Ireland happened. And you lose to Ireland regularly, you know. They're a tough team to beat. They're they're gritty, especially at home, especially after you've just snatched the World Cup from right under their noses for 2023. And so they were really playing with a lot of heart. For me, a lot of things contributed to that Springbok defeat, which wasn't unexpected. It's just a nature.
So the defeat wasn't unexpected?
No, not totally
considering where we are.
Yeah.
So what happened?
All things
considered, what had happened in the inbound tour?
Yeah.
Up until before Dublin, you were still, in your opinion about the Springboks, that
I would have
they,
given it to Ireland.
okay.
Yeah, I would have given it to Ireland. If you asked me the same question a week ago, yeah, Ireland, all day, every day. And then because we don't have a scrum half, they've got Conor Murray, one of the best scrum halves in the world. We don't have an inside center. You've got Damien Dialende. You've got a 3-on-1 overlap. Damien Dialende's got the ball middle of the park, just past the Irish 10-meter line. South Africa's attacking balls, good go forward ball. You want to put Ireland under pressure. What does he do? He kicks the ball, and he puts in a pretty shitty kick behind the defense, and the attacking opportunity is lost. For me, you don't have a number 12. I would have rather taken Luzuko Vulindlu to play if we're really out of number 12. There's so many guys. Lukanyo
Fenter's there.
Lukanyo grew up in the number 12 jersey at Border. Francois Fenter grew up in the number 12 jersey. William Small-Smith grew up in the number 12 jersey. How many centers are there? I don't buy into this notion that there are no centers in South Africa. Rowan Janssen van Rensburg, what happened to him?
And on what basis is Alistair Coetzee picking Damien Dialende? Because he had a below decent season.
Yeah, he was injured for most of it. He had a below par return. He had about 5 games of Super Rugby. And then he comes back, walks into the Springbok mid-year incoming tour, and does nothing of real note. Granted, Jan Seffontein had the number 12 jersey at the time, but also not knocking on the door, vigorously.
But we are picking, well, I'm certainly picking up a trend from Alistair Coetzee and his consistency in selection, in that he may not have been the coach at the time, but Pollard injured, playing for the Boks through his rehabilitation and slots back into the team. Kunio Stazen gets injured while playing for the Boks, does his rehab, slots back into the team.
Yeah.
Damien Dialende gets injured, slots back into the team.
But the same does not apply to your Rowan Janssen van Rensburg, to your Ruan Combrings. Lukanyo did nothing wrong, just got injured at the wrong time just before the inbound tour, and then next thing fell right off the radar. And can anybody tell me why Makazole Mapimpi isn't in that team? It's definitely not because the other wingers are better than him. Look at Kotnos Kosan, culpable for a try, couldn't pick the ball up from the air, which is like that's routine, bro. When you know you're gonna play Ireland, that ball is coming in the air. That Paddy Jackson's gonna
They're gonna dink it. They're gonna dink it the next 3 weeks.
Every time they killed him over here at Ellis Park with those chip kicks.
Literally killed him
last year. Literally that was it. We haven't seen
that was the last
in a Springbok jersey since Ellis Park, and that was terrible. And you're telling me Makazole Mapimpi, with his build, with his speed, with his explosiveness, with his hands and form, the top try scorer in all competitions in South Africa. A guy that has the try lines in his DNA, has a knack for the try line. I mean, he's like he fetches a try line like nobody we've seen in the recent past. And yet here he is, sitting, signing Sharks contracts. He's probably by the beach now, East London home, enjoying a nice meaty holiday, whereas he should be in Ireland grafting.
inobujongene lamakhwenkwe azongena emigidini ayazongena
Nobukibhekile abakhoyo, kukiwa amalwimi, inhloko, yeah. He deserves it. He deserves it.
Sibu, wasiqongqothe ndoda kuthi. Wasiqongqothe ngelithi uMzantsi Afrika unemidlalo mithathu eshekileyo. Kutyalo labo phesheya. Ikhona into enowuvela kulento sesele sibonile kumdlalo wokuqala. Apho banawuthi mhlawumbe babuyise okwesidima, ngoba kule minyaka emibini inye xa into abayidlalela isidima okokoko badlalela isidima, ukubuyisa isidima sendiko nam ukutsho babadlalela isidima. Ikhona nje into engavela babuye nemidlalo emithathu ke baphumelele emithathu kule mithathu shekileyo, okanye basezawukhe basokole, okanye zikhona ezinye ingxaki esezawuvela kweliqala likatuti.
Andifuna uxoxela wona into kaSotyelelo. Sotyelelo sizawutsala nzima kuFrance qala ngoku kule weekend siyakuyo. Sotsala nzima kakhulu ngoba ama-French ndiwabukela dlala ne-All Blacks. Into ayenzileyo azifuthanisele i-All Blacks kula second half. Yeah, abawina game. I think i-All Blacks is win at 38-18. But i-All Blacks khange party body kangazikrwele ibhodi ku-second half until the last 2 minutes. Into ethi ke i-defense France i-momentum confidence zonke izinto zingekhoyo kwi-Springboks zigcwele kwi-France ngoku bazixelele hey besine 40 minutes phakathi kwi-All Blacks phantse
Basingadibanisa nje 80 minutes.
if singadibanisa ke ngoku another 20 another 80 idibane iphelele la performance ndiyaxelela iSpringboks zaba sengxakini and isengxakini yana unoDamian Deland umuntu ozixelele uba ungugilifaki uno Corners Kosana bese ndithethile ngayo ngakwazi ukugana ibhola kanazana ebholeni yombhoxo endisithi mina mahamba yodlala i100 meters ba uzimisele ngokubaleka ngoba ibhola yerugby
yagangwa kaloku
first and foremost bakwazi
ukuthwere imini
rugby so ndithi ke mina ke uAlistair Coetzee ufuna kahlala phansi nalamakhwenkwe and asijonge naye ayeke uthatha iblame ayibeke etafuleni ndiyazi xa fika kweza press conferences uyakwazi ucikoza ba tactics this and that and that and that and that okay masithethe ngepride ke ngoku
yebhokobhoko
yeah
isitsebabhoko
ba make le esiskipa nezempe nezibhatyi nezinxibileyo zesprint
namanye amadoda adlala alwelayo esiskipa nesinqobelelo namhlanje
kwamadoda asishiya engazange iphatha la Springbok jersey
ututi lowo begezelwa kwivekpele kuba
nguOlileru kuthiwa akasoSpringbok zange wadlala eSpringboks kodwa kuthi siSpringbok
masisonke sibu masisibonge ngoba sawude singene nakwezinye sichukumeze sithunuke namanye amadoda manibulele ngexesha lakho ndiyayiqonda uba ukusasa ngentsini ngomvulo kodwa nibulela ngexesha lakho futhi. We also thank you for your time. We also thank you for watching Fine Leg Productions. Plenty to talk about, and obviously these end of year tournaments or exchange of fixtures are continuing for the next 3 to 4 weeks, and we'll be unpacking week by week, preferably Monday, but not this early every Monday. But please do subscribe, please do follow us, and do share your comments with us. But until then, thank you very much.